And then the question of, how to put it in the right direction, as well as so that the family gets benefited, our future generations get benefited. That was basically our aim and goal.
Hello, Mushfiq. Welcome to the Relatable Property Investor.
Thank you.
And we also have NASA joining us today.
Hi, Charlotte.
Who's one of our team, obviously, at Duval. I just wanted to start off by talking to you a little bit about your background. Obviously, we know a little bit, but maybe explaining to us your background, where you've come from, what you knew about money and property growing up, what you might have learned from your parents, that sort of thing. Maybe tell us a little bit about your background and your story.
Yeah, basically, I'm a doctor, retired doctor by profession, and didn't know much about property development at all, except I did have a little bit of, I will call it ignition from my mom, who basically, her husband passed away, and then she ended up with insurance policy and gratuity and other money in her bank after the death of her husband. And in order to ignite us to go more for education and stuff, she did push us. She did basically thought about putting this money somewhere. She bought a piece of land with a property in heart of the city, which we cannot think of owning now. If she exactly she was actually clever. She passed away last year. Yeah. But this is really such a good investment she has done, in spite of being not much educated and other things. We really appreciate her this thought.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, you can imagine, I have been a GP all my life, and sitting down on the chair, seeing patients, and then as GPs you earn good amount of money, and then the question of how to put it in the right direction, as well as so that the family gets benefited, the our future generations get benefited. That was basically our aim and goal.
So you learnt a bit about, obviously, knowing that your mother had invested in this property, that maybe property was a good path to go down in terms of your going forward as you got older and going, okay, I've got some money now, and what should I do with it?
Exactly. Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's more like sowing a seed somewhere, and then it grows into a plant, and then tree, and then fruits.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So you're quite an experienced investor now. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your portfolio and what you've done.
First home, what I bought to live in. Yeah, that night I haven't slept at all. Because what happened, I would calculate it was $350,000, and then I had $100,000 of my own to put the down payment.
Right.
And in spite of that, it was a very little amount. $250,000 those days was a big amount, and I would multiply it by my currency, the Indian rupees. And I would calculate it. It is such a huge amount of money. Who will pay it? How will I pay it?
So you lost sleep over the mortgage that you took over, yeah?
I was thinking about the mortgage I will have to pay.
Yeah.
But, how the years passed, and I, paid off that, and my wife, basically, she's very conservative.
Yeah. And so how many rental properties do you have now in your portfolio?
At the moment, I would say about 18.
18?
Yeah.
That's a decent number, isn't it?
Yeah. Most of them are, independent houses, because I did not believe in, more of apartment type, because I feel like the other people have you don't have direct control over it. That was my.
So that's a very important point, Mushfiq, that you make. You have 18 properties, and you thought that standalones are good. Now, over the past, I met you about 18 months or 24 months ago when we started discussion. How has your thought process changed over these 18 months that standalone may not be the right way for investors, or is there alternative ways for you to build a property portfolio?
That's right. That is where Nasir will come into action, and we just sat down few times, and he told me, how the system works with dual group. In spite of I had already met Kenyan, but I had not sort of brought anything from the dual group. But Nasir did sort of educate me. Basically it was a very important meeting. One night we were sitting there for hours, and he was just telling me, no, this is. Then he showed me the overall how much it costs to buy the thing, and then how the returns are better, and third, how you guys, there is possibility of the dual group by itself looking after the properties, which by itself takes a lot of burden from, because investors are sometimes, I have a lot of issues with this property having this issue, that property, well as managing the rentals as well, which makes the dual group quite sort of very, very attractive.
So you've bought off the plan, haven't you? Because that must have been new for you too.
That's right. That's right. But I was really, really sort of very happy when I saw one of my friends. He made me to come over to one of the built ones.
So you got to see what they were like once they were built.
I was absolutely stunned.
Excellent.
The material, the things, the appliances they use, and the layout of the structure and everything, I was really, really amazed.
That's awesome. So how many Duval properties have you bought now?
We are in the process of, I have bought already 3, and we're in the process of having more.
Amazing. That's really cool.
Because I am in the process of having 2 more for my 2 kids and 2 more at other places.
So obviously property sits well with you.
That's very true, because overall I had invested in some other things as well, while I didn't do as well as I did in property.
I know one of his very great investments. He invested in some ostriches. I don't know why he didn't like his money. I don't know what he did with it, but he did something with ostriches, which is very fascinating.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I talked about this to my mom. She was in London that time.
Right.
Yeah.
What does she have to say about your ostriches?
That really stunned me.
A brilliant answer.
You will get stunned as well. He said, son, you did a great job. You have already put your money in, but I always advise you, never invest in livestock.
Fair enough.
That was something. Oh my God.
What would you advise them to do from here on? Would you still want them to buy standalones, or would you want them to buy terraced homes?
I would say standalones I wouldn't touch. I would go more into sort of terraced homes or even apartments if need be.
And even obviously buying off the plan, because like you say, with the maintenance costs, they're just not there when they're brand new. And if they are, like you say, Duval's looking after the property for you. So we're eager, obviously, to repair any issue that might be a problem.
Because that takes
construction.
Exactly, Charlie. That takes a lot out of your mind, and you want to travel or you want to go anywhere. You have other commitments as well, and you have enough spare time for yourself. Enjoy your wealth as well.
And how have you found your experience working with Duval and with NASA here?
So far, one thing I will say that Nasser definitely, he is a prize person. He's really a brilliant motivator, I would say. On top of that, the insight and the graph and other things he showed me, I was really stunned. The things he showed me, how you can manage it better.
Yeah, because I think this is quite a commonly held belief, especially here in New Zealand. If you've been an investor for a long time, everybody's about the land. But that's not necessarily where your yield is, right? It's not necessarily where your capital growth is, or your rental growth.
Correct.
So I think one of the things about our business is that we're always looking for an opportunity as investors ourselves to find those great gains, And would you say that your investment in property has meant that in your retirement it's going to, is going to, because obviously COVID and the border shut, allow you to do things you want to do, like travel and do those sorts of things and live a great life. In retirement.
So far as like managing the other side of the portfolio, I will use 2 managements here. One of them is the standalones which I have. I think I'll have to hand it over to somewhere. to do those activities. But the investments I have at Dual, I don't think I need to do anything because that will be managed by Dual itself.
And it allows you that freedom
freedom of travel, freedom of going to places,
So is there anything else that you might want to add before we close up, or anything you've got, Nessa, that you think might be interesting?
I think I would like to add a few things about Mushfiq personally in terms of how his family structure is and how they look at real estate. It's very, very, when I came in, I got to meet them. So his son was here away from Australia. So they were looking to buy properties. I never told them anything. I would go with them. I met up with his son as well. A great thought process, had good discussion with them. And when I really understood what they are looking for, then I sat with him and told him, all right, this is what you're doing. You got your millions and millions of dollars loaded in these properties. You're getting good rental income. But if you did it this way, it could be better on your personal life. Your quality of assets would be way better. Your maintenance cost would be so. I know he's got a property in Queenstown. He bought it, I don't know, $4 or $5 million. I don't know exact price. And now he's spending $300 on changing the roof there. But buying quality assets for our future investors or his investors, it is so important.
Yes.
It's all about buying quality assets. Time doesn't come back. The decisions he took 30 years back, he can't undo them.
No.
Now imagine when he took those decisions that can I buy this or this, how important that is. How that shapes up over the next 30 years. That is exactly what our endeavor at Duval is. We tell investors, you have the power to buy something, but take a decision. Do I go for this asset or this asset? And that is where we come in and try to value.
And one that's informed too, and I think the chart that you were talking about earlier is an internal tool that we use when we're talking to people who invest with us to show them how their asset can grow and how it can look, and aid with buying the next one as well, and all of that sort of thing over a period of time. So, but we really appreciate you coming today.
Thank you so
much.
Coming here.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, and no doubt we'll be able to talk to you again at some time in the future.
Definitely,
maybe your children too.
More than happy.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mushfiq. Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nas.
Thank you very much.